20th Congress of the Chinese Communist Party is over, and Xi Jinping is General Secretary for a third term. The new 7-people cabinet is full of Xi's allies, and he can claim a full political victory over the other party faction, as it is pictured by Hu Jintao's forced exit from the Congress Hall. Such an outcome has been very likely ever since 2017, when the 19-party Congress included Xi Jinping's name in the party constitutions, and no plausible successor emerged. A few months later, a new amendment in the constitution granted him the role of President of the People's Republic of China for more than 2 mandates. However, at the time of its ascent to the top of the party, Xi Jinping was not intended to become an unrestrained leader. After the rule of Hu Jintao and Wen Jiabao, the role of General Secretary was rather modeled on a dual leadership. Thus, Xi was meant to share the power with the party's number 2 and Premier of the State Council, Li Keqiang. Despite that, he immediately overshadowed the rival and centralized the power in his hands. If in the first 5-year mandate as General Secretary Xi Jinping strengthened his power, he dedicated the second one to consolidate his position and to define his role in the party history as the leader of a new era aimed at achieving socialist modernization and national rejuvenation. That means to bring China back to the peak of its imperial past by the middle of this century. Moreover, on top of consolidating his personal power, Xi dedicated his second term also to calling the party to remain united against internal and external risk, which could appear in the guise of black swan and grey rhinos that are respectively unforeseen incident and known but ignored risk. In order to prevent the emergence of threat to political stability, Xi Jinping increased China's securitization and tightened the party's ideological stance. This is why, in his report to the Congress, Xi Jinping emphasized the concept of security even at the cost of economic growth. Indeed, according to the last data released by the National Bureau of Statistics, the GDP in the first 3 quarters was up by 3% year-on-year at constant price, and that means that the 5.5% growth target set last March will not be reached by the end of 2022. Confirming a 3% growth at the end of the year means that China's economy is growing at the slowest pace in decades, excluding the pandemic year, 2020. The reason for a worsening economy lay in the poor performance of domestic consumption, affected by recurring and unexpected lockdowns due to contain the spread of COVID-19, and of the property sector that sustained growth in the past years along with investment. Now, an excessive debt burden is preventing China to adopt its usual drivers of economy. A way out to gain back economic strength would be to focus on innovation, but China's ideological turn has reduced the space for private economy, therefore damaging the innovation ecosystem, and at the same time is urging the so-called Global West, composed by the US, EU, but also Japan, Australia and many more countries, to gradually close its door to China with the aim to contain the rise of an autocratic China. In particular, the US recently adopted limitations to the export to China of advanced semiconductors, and the majority of the developed economies is adopting policies in order to significantly reduce its dependence on China's technology. As a consequence, China will have to focus on indigenous innovation and self-reliance to achieve the primacy, or at least independence, in the semiconductor industry. This sector is the most vital for Chinese economy and is gradually being cut off from the integrated circuit's global value chains. At the same time, the rise of suspicion over scientific operation, accused to be source for theft of intellectual property and critical knowledge, is affecting academic and research exchange. Therefore, in order to succeed, Xi's China will have to find its own new way to innovation, squeezed between less international cooperation and technology transfers on one side, and a mounting in domestic ideological way, that is, careful selection for political reasons rather than skills, on the other side. Xi's third term might be the one that will set the tone of the US-China competition for the coming decades. China needs to restructure its development model and to contrast the economic cost of the return to ideology. The West needs to find a way to do business with an even more autocratic China without hurting its strategic interests.